Hi there, I am Lindsay with Off the Beaten Hook, and in this video tutorial I am going to walk you through how to make this adorable little, now this video tutorial is just a supplement to the written pattern. I have that pattern available for free on my blog. You can also purchase the ad-free PDF version if you want to print it out and take it with you anywhere to crochet, and that version is available on Etsy and Ravelry as well as in my shop off of my website. So you can get the pattern any one of those ways, and I will include the links to all of those places in the description box below. I also just want to thank you so much for watching this and for being here. I would love it if this video is helpful for you, if you would like it, and subscribe to my channel. It is a huge support to me and my small business when you do that. And if you do hit that little bell icon, you will be notified when I upload new videos. It might be videos just like this pattern tutorial, or I might be doing some stitch tutorials or just anything crochet related. You'll be notified when I do that. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much. Let's jump in. All right, so let's get going on these claws. So I am going to do this with you. It comes together in a couple different parts. So these parts here on a crab are called the pincer, and we have the large pincer and the small pincer. Sometimes they're also called fingers, but these we are going to be crocheting separately, and then we are going to join them, and we're going to do a little sewing to create this shape of the claw, and then we're going to continue on with this portion of the claw as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to begin by making this small pincer with you. I'm going to do the full thing, and then I'm going to off camera do this larger one, because it's exactly the same except for it's one round bigger. And then I'm going to come back and we are going to join them together and complete the rest of this so you can see how this shaping is done. And anyway, I hope that'll be super helpful for you. This is definitely the trickiest part of the crab, and so getting it on film here hopefully will help answer any questions that you have. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, we're going to begin with a magic circle. Again, we are working on the small pincer right now. And we are going to single crochet 5 into this magic circle for round 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and close that up. Okay, for round 2, what we're going to be doing is we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, And then into the next stitch, we're going to place 3 single crochet all into this next stitch. So 1, 2, 3. And then to end the round, we'll be doing 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. 1 and, whoop, I missed a loop. This one can be kind of fiddly when you're working with a little magic circle. All right, so at this point, go ahead and make sure that you've got these stitches facing out, that they're facing the right side out. And you're going to want to do that now, sooner rather than later. At this point, I also kind of close up that magic circle a little more too. All right, so there's round 2. Round 3, the first several rounds of each of these pincers are very similar. So round 3, what we're going to be doing is placing 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So we'll do that. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to place 3 single crochet into this next stitch, just like we did in the last round. 2 and 3. Then we're going to end with 3 single crochet. So 1 single crochet into each of the next 3. And that is round 3. Okay, so for round 4, we're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. You're going to see the pattern coming together here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in the next stitch, we'll place 3 single crochet all into that same stitch. 1, 2, 3, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next 4. For round 5, we're going to place 1 single crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 single crochet into this next stitch, and 1 single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're going to do one more round exactly like that. For round 6, we're going to place 1 single crochet into these first 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're going to place 3 single crochet into this next stitch. 1, 2, 3. And 1 single crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I wanted to just mention here again, I already said it, but basically the large pincer is exactly the same, except for it goes on to do 1 more round. We're doing 7 single crochet and then the 3 single crochets into 1 stitch and then ending with 7 single crochet. So that one I'm going to do off camera and then I will meet back up with you to join them. But I am going to go ahead and finish this one with you first. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so now you can kind of see the shape of this little guy coming together. I'm going to stuff that starting yarn into the inside at this point. Okay, for round 7, of the small pincer, which is the last round of this guy, we are going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. But at this point, you do want to grab a stitch marker because you want to mark the 7th stitch that you make. This makes it easier for me. You can always go back later and count, but you're going to mark this stitch because this is the one that you're going to join with the large pincer when we get to that point. Okay, so I'm going to actually mark the first stitch of my round and that 7th one, so don't lose track. So 1, that's my first stitch. I'm going to use a separate stitch marker, a different looking one, so I don't lose which one's which. So 1, so I'm going to count to the 7th one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to mark that 7th stitch. This is where we're going to join those pincers together. Okay, and then just 1 single crochet in each stitch round to the other side, back to the beginning of the round. And 1 more. Okay, so at this point I am simply going to fasten off. This is the small pincer. I'm just going to fasten off, and of course I can take out my beginning stitch marker, but you want to leave this this stitch marker in. That's the important stitch where you're going to join them together, right? So go ahead and fasten off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started on the large pincer from rounds 1 through 7, and I will pick up at that point, and I will see you there. All right, so I've just completed round 7 of the large pincer, and now what I'm going to do for rounds 8 and 9 is I'm simply going to single crochet around. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around for both rounds 8 and 9. So that's going to be 17 stitches around. Okay, so I just finished round 9, and what we are going to do now is we are going to join these little guys together. So this is how it's going to work. I'll just give you kind of an overview before we do it. So here's the stitch that we're going to join them together in. You can see the shape is going to go like this. All right, so that's how you want to kind of visualize it happening. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to single crochet our array over to this side. And then we're going to be picking up this guy and continuing around. And then in the round after that, then we start crocheting around both of them together. All right, so here's how that's going to work. We're going to begin by crocheting 8 single crochets. This is the first round of kind of joining them together. I am going to mark that first stitch. 1. And I will mention that this is considered round 1 again. Now that we're joining them together, I'm just starting back over at round 1, not to be confusing, okay? So we're going to single crochet 8, okay? So I just did that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're picking up, again, making sure that it is facing the right way. You know, you don't want to like try to pick it up like this. So visualizing the shape of the claw, I am going to make a single crochet right from where I'm leaving off straight into where this stitch marker is. And I'm just going to go ahead and even just leave the stitch marker in at this point. So instead of continuing on with the 9th one on this guy, we are going to go straight into that stitch marker, completing a single crochet. All right, so now we're going to go all the way around this small pincer. So there's, including that one, there's going to be 15 stitches. All right, we made it back around the entire outside of that smaller pincer, and now we are going to rejoin back onto the larger one and continue stitching in the remaining stitches along the other side of the larger pincer. So there's going to be 9 more stitches. So you started with 8 along the larger pincer, then you added on this guy for 15 stitches around him, and now you've got 9 more stitches along here to complete this round. Okay, so straight into that next available stitch. Stitch marker is kind of getting in my way, but okay, and then all the way to the end. It's going to feel a little janky right now, but we're going to shape it and sew it and make sure that it looks amazing, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, all right, so they are now joined. Again, looking a little bit funky at this point. It's all going to come together. It's all good. Take out that stitch marker. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple more rounds, 2 to be exact, where we're simply going to single crochet all the way around. So at this point we've got 32 stitches after this round 1 of joining them. So round 2 and 3, we're going to single crochet around. And then what we're going to do is we are actually going to pinch this together a little bit right here and take a strand of yarn and just take a couple stitches back and forth through here to kind of keep that in shape. Otherwise it's just going to be, you know, flopsy mopsy. So we want to take a couple stitches and stitch it, line it up, stitch it into shape so that it ends up being like that. And that is what creates kind of this little crease, if you will, right there. And adds a little bit of a realistic touch to it, okay? So for the next 2 rounds, 32 stitches around. I'm going to just go for it, and I will meet you at the end of round 3. All right, I am now at the end of round 3. Let's do my last couple stitches. All right, so I am going to mark this stitch for now because I'm going to put it down for a minute and sew these guys into the shape that I want them to be. Okay, so this is what it's looking like after round 3. Okay, a little bit herky-jerky. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these and we are going to, I feel like this like little claw, and we are going to line these up with each other, how we want them to be lined up. And we're going to take a few stitches through the inside at this crease here in the middle and just going to sew it up. Okay, so I'm going to take a strand of yarn. Doesn't need to be too long. And I'm going to thread that onto a tapestry needle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this little claw at this point and make sure that it's aligned properly. Okay. And I'm going to take this needle and just pass it through back and forth a couple times. I am going to tie it off here. And then I'm just going to pass it through a couple times and really shape these little pincers into the claw shape that I would like it to be. So this is basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of sew it together a couple rows in. So here's a little crease right here. And I'm going to hold it together a couple rows in, and I am going to sew it like this. Okay, so I am happy with that. I like that shape. So I'm just going to tie this off on the inside, and then we will continue on with our claw. All right, I'm going to snip off those yarn tails. I will use them for stuffing later, which is going to happen pretty soon. All right, so I'm going to pick up where I left off. And after sewing that, we are now on round 4. And what we're going to do is we are going to do some decreasing to start shaping this. So for round 4, what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 single crochet, so 1 single crochet in each of the next 6, and then do a decrease. And we're going to do that 4 times around. So we're just decreasing by 4 stitches on this round, all right? So 6 single crochet. Mark my first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a decrease. We're going to do that combination 4 times around. So it's 1, so another 6 single crochet. All right, make my last decrease. Okay, so that was the end of round 4. For round 5, we're simply going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So that'll be 28 stitches for round 5. And what I'm going to do at this point is I am going to just give you an overview of what the next several rounds are going to look like and let you get at it because it's very repetitive. So for that round, we decreased by 4 stitches. And then in round 5, we're simply single crochet around. And then round 6, it's the same thing. We're going to decrease by 4 stitches again. And then round 7, we're single crochet around. Okay, we're going to stop and stuff it at that point, and we're going to continue doing that as we decrease. So that same pattern is going to bring you basically all the way down to this kind of tapered portion before you just simply single crochet around for this arm, and then we do a little bit of increasing and decreasing to create this turn in the leg. So I'm going to let you get at that. I think that you will be able to follow the written pattern for that part now that we have done the tricky part of this. So I am going to meet you back here again, and I will show you how to do the increasing and the decreasing together to create this shape of the leg. 50. So we just completed round 17. We're going to do 2 things at this point. First of all, we're going to stuff this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make sure your hook is positioned to where this bend happens at the right place. And what I mean by that is you want this bend to be aligned with this chomper so you don't have like a weird bend coming out like this way, for example. You want these little chompers, these little claws, to have the large pincer on top and then have your bend facing away, bending away from that. Hope you can visualize what I mean by that. In order to do that, you need to have your hook positioned appropriately so that you're doing your increases, or rather your increases under here and your decreases over top as this bends, because this bend just happens over the course of 3 rounds, happens quickly. So I am going to put a little stuffing in here, and then we will make sure that our hook is positioned by either giving or taking a couple stitches if we have to make sure that we are beginning round 18 at the right spot. Okay, so what we're going to do now before we begin round 18 is we want to make sure that our last stitch that we made is aligned with the outer edge of the smaller pincer. So again, here we have it. We have the larger one up top and the smaller one under here. And we want to make sure our last stitch, whether we have to give or take a couple stitches based on where it ended, is aligned with this edge of this lower pincer. So I can see with mine, see how I'm past it? This is my last stitch over here. I need to just take out a couple stitches to make sure that it's aligned with the outer edge of the smaller pincer right there. So I'm going to just go ahead and take out a couple stitches. No big deal. I know that feels like a total crime to some people. And there I have it. So my next stitch that I'm going to work into is aligned with the outer edge of the smaller pincer. Okay, so I'm just right to the edge of that so that my first stitch I make is going to be an increase and it's going to be right there, so the bend happens in the right spot. All right, so here's what we're going to do for round 18. We are going to increase in these first 2 stitches of the round. So I'm going to complete my first increase and then I'm going to mark that. And again, I've got stuffing coming out because I probably put a little too much in. Can fix that later. Okay, I'm going to do 1 more increase. So I've got 2 increases. And then I am going to single crochet 2. So 1 single crochet in each of the next 2. And now I'm going to do 2 decreases. So I'm going to decrease over these 2 stitches and then decrease over the next 2 stitches. This is going to begin to curve my claw. So 1 decrease and 2. And then you're going to have 2 stitches left and we're simply going to single crochet in each of those stitches. Okay, that is our round 18. Round 19 and 20 are exactly the same. So we're going to increase in the first 2 stitches of the round. Then we're going to single crochet 2. And then we're going to do 2 decreases. And then we're going to end with 2 single crochet. Finished round 20 there, and now we are going to stuff again. It's really coming together. So for our final round, round 21, we are going to simply single crochet in each stitch around. So there'll be 10 stitches, 1 in each stitch around. And there you have it. You've got your claw completed. So you're going to have 2 of these little guys. And what you're going to do is you'll just fasten off at this point. You're going to leave a long tail for sewing it onto your crab. You may need to stuff it a little bit more, just kind of shape it and make all your little finishing touches, and then it will be ready to be sewn on when the time comes. Just a quick visual for the rest of the legs. I'm not going to do these ones with you because now that you have completed the claws, you're familiar with how this bend is made. And these legs, the bend is made the exact same way. Obviously, these are a lot more simple. You're simply going to be making a magic circle of 4, and then you're going to increase in each of those for a total of 8 stitches around. So each of these rounds has 8 stitches. You'll do several rounds. You'll do up until round 7. And then, of course, you'll stuff this little guy. And the rounds 8, 9, and 10 are what create this bend, and it happens in exactly the same way the claws, the bend on this leg of the claw works, which we just did together, except for it's, you know, a little bit, it's skinnier, so there's less stitches. But the method is the same way, where you are increasing and on one side and you're decreasing on the other side for 3 rounds, and then you will continue to crochet 5 more rounds to complete the rest of the leg, and you'll be making 8 of these little guys. So they come together pretty quick, and you'll just want to make sure you stuff them as you go along because they are very skinny and narrow. Okay, it's now time to make this little guy's eyes. So I am going to do one of them with you. I use a 10mm safety eye in the middle. Of course, use whatever you would like, whichever one you think looks the best. Still using our 3mm hook, and we are going to begin with the white. So we go from the inside of the eye all the way to the back side. And in case I don't mention it later, I do not stuff the eye. This is just the shape that it creates by just following the method that I use. So We're going to begin by making a magic circle. And we're going to single crochet 6 into that circle. Okay, go ahead and close that up. All right, so for round 2, we are going to increase in each stitch around. So we're going to be placing 2 single crochets into each of those 6 stitches that we just made. Six. Okay, and go ahead and close up that magic circle a little bit tighter. All right, so for round 3, we're going to increase one more time. So we're just going to place 1 single crochet in this next stitch and then an increase in this next stitch and do that same little combo 6 times around. So 1 single crochet and then an increase. Okay, so at the end of round 3, you're going to have 18 stitches. This is my last stitch of round 3. And in round 4, we are switching to red. And so when you switch colors, you are going to want to bring in your new color on the last yarn over of the final stitch of that round. So I am switching to red. So I'm going to bring in red on my 18th stitch here. And do my last yarn over in that red. I'm just going to pull tight to that white on the back. Okay, so for round 4, we are going to be doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around, but we're going to be working through the front loops only for this round. So that's what this is going to look like. So if you look at this next little stitch, normally you're working through both of those loops. We are going to be working through just the front loop. So we're going to be doing a single crochet through the front loop of every single one of these 18 stitches. Front loop only. All right, I'm making my very last stitch of this round, front loop only. All right, so I'm going to pull pretty tight on that white in the back, again, to kind of close up that round. Now what we're going to be doing, because you can kind of see the shape already, is for the next round, we're again going to be placing 1 single crochet in each stitch around, but this time we're going to be working through the back loops only of this this last round that we did, of round 4, which is our red round. So this time, here's both loops of the stitch, and this time we're going to be working through the back loop only, which is just this one. Okay, so I'm going to mark this stitch because I start to lose track of my stitches at this point because they're all red. All right, so that was my first back loop only. There's going to be 18 of them. So again, get to going on that. Back loop only, single crochet in each stitch around. Okay, just make my last stitch of round 5 here, back loop only, single crochet, and that is what it's going to look like. Looking kind of funky a little bit, but don't worry, we're going to fold this over and shape it here in just a little bit. Okay, so for round 6 and 7, we are simply going to single crochet around again, but this time we will use both loops. So just regular old single crochet around 18 stitches. All right, 18. Okay, so I have just completed round 7, single crocheting around in all 18. And what we're going to do now is we are going to stop for a second here. Still looking real funky, but I am going to actually just place a stitch marker here because where you're going to stop and put in the safety eye at this point. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like if you've got it all facing, you know, with your stitches facing right side out. So you're going to go ahead and take your safety eye. You're going to insert the safety eye in between rounds 1 and 2. So you're not going to go straight through the magic circle. You're going to go through between round 1 and 2. And that's what kind of offsets the little eye. Again, if you want to go straight through the middle, then have at it. You can place it wherever you'd like. But according to the pattern, the way I wrote it, we're going to be going through rounds 1, right in between rounds 1 and 2. Okay, so I am going to push this through. Okay, like this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the back on. Okay, and now we flip this around a little bit. Again, this will continue to kind of curl and shape. At this point also, I am going to snip off the white yarn and get that one out of my way. Just be working with red here forward with the eye. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off. So that was the end of round 7. We have 2 more rounds. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to start decreasing to kind of close the back into this tapered shape, which also the safety eye does part of that too, because you're going to kind of have to work out and around the safety eye. And this is what that's going to look like. Okay, so for round 8, we're going to place a single crochet in this next stitch, and then we're going to decrease over the next 2 stitches. And we'll do that same combination 6 times around. I am going to mark my first stitch, so I'm going to do a single crochet. And then I'm going to do a decrease. I'm doing an invisible decrease. I'm working through the front loops only. You can decrease however you are comfortable. All right, so then a single crochet and then another decrease. All right, so after round 8, you'll be back down to 12 stitches. So it can be a little bit fiddly. I had to kind of flip him the right side out while I was working that round. Okay, so at the end of round 8, you're going to have 12 stitches around. And we're going to do one more round where we are going to decrease all the way around. So you'll go from 12 stitches down to 6 stitches. We'll be doing 6 decreases. Okay. So go ahead and snip your tail there, leaving a little bit of room to close up your circle. Okay, go ahead and pull the yarn tail through those final 2 loops. Grab your tapestry needle, and you're simply going to close up this circle. So you're going to thread your tapestry needle with that yarn tail, and you're going to thread your needle through the front loop only of each of those 6 stitches. Six, pull tightly to close. And at this point, go ahead and take your little eye and kind of shape it. So you want this round where you did the back loop only to kind of curve around and his eye to kind of go to the inside. Okay, there they are, the little eyeballs. Just way too cute. All right, so at this point you can, oh, I got the safety eye kind of poking out back there. Okay, at this point, you're not going to snip that. You're going to actually use that yarn tail to sew this eyeball on to the little crab. So just leave that yarn tail there and set these guys aside until it is time to sew them on. I hope this video helped you. I would love it if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel. So thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for watching.